Alright, so this is my predictions video for week 2. I have my score predictions on Monday, so this is essentially my reasoning for why I have what I have on why I have what I have. So first game, you have the Commanders at Packers tomorrow. On first game on Prime Video. I have the Commanders to win this game, mainly because the Packers have not statistically done well in the past at stopping mobile quarterbacks. And did the Commanders really impress me too much in week 1? The defense did. But that might also just be because the Giants' offense is that bad. But right now, yeah, will the Packers be able to stop Jane Daniels? If they can, then the Packers will easily cruise to a victory this game. But if they don't, it may be a long day for them. So it really depends on how well Micah Parsons plays. He's not going to be playing too many snaps, so this is just going to mainly be the defense. The main defense. He's going to play a minimal amount of snaps. Same with what happened in week 1. So he may play a little bit more, but he's not going to be doing a full snap count. That's not going to be until week 4. So we're not going to get to see Micah Parsons too much in this game. But if he can at least get a sack and get some good pressure when he's there on Jaden Daniels. I mean, he did play him twice a year last year. So he does kind of know him at least a little bit. So we'll see how the Packers play against him. But I personally think this game's going to be a very close game, very low-scoring game, and I think the Commanders will probably squeak out a victory. Or not, but they may not. We'll see. We don't have enough tape yet to really figure out who's better than who right now. This is just week 2. But, yeah, I'm kind of going out on a limb on what I saw. So, yeah. Now we move on to the Sunday game, starting with Browns at Ravens. Both teams starting out 0-1, which for the Ravens is not what they wanted to do, especially being up 15, with like 10 minutes left. The Browns, this is a revenge game for Joe Flacco. However, and the Browns did impress me in week 1. However, the Ravens, they went 0-2 last year. They were fine. But I don't think they're going 0-2 this year. The Bengals still beat the Browns. The Browns put up a fight. And, yeah, they almost won by 1 point. But the Ravens, I think they're a better team. The defense does need to clean up some issues, especially with the Bills. But that might just have also been because the Bills' offense is better than the Ravens' defense. So if the Ravens' defense is better than the Browns' offense, well, the Browns should not have an issue. The Ravens should not have an issue beating the Browns. But the Browns may be a little bit better than we think. I personally think Joe Flacco's not done. It's just these first 2 games have been kind of difficult. I think the Browns are going to do well. I think Joe Flacco was the right choice at starter. But we'll see. We'll see how they play. They almost won against the Bengals, which I predicted because of the Bengals' week 1 struggles that might happen. We'll see how they look week 2. We'll see. Next game, and you guys have probably been waiting for this one. I have the Jaguars beating the Bengals. I did, alright? I was initially going to pick the Bengals in this game, but the Jaguars impressed me, and I personally think the Jaguars are going to win the AFC South. I don't know how good the Colts are going to be. The Texans did not look very good. The Titans looked decent, but that might have also been because the Broncos didn't have the best start this this year. We'll see how it goes with that one, but we'll get into that later. The Jaguars, I have to win the division. I do. Like I said, do we have enough tape to tell? No. But right now, from what I'm seeing, I think the Bengals are a better team offensively. But all around, I mean, the defense looked okay against the Browns, but it's also the Browns. So this Jaguars offense, I think, is good enough to show the weaknesses in the Bengals defense. And another reason I have this game, I have the Jaguars winning, is there's times where I just kind of want to be risky with some of my picks, because there are such things as upsets. And when I can see an upset happening, I will take the upset, and I think this is going to be an upset game. I think the Jaguars will upset the Bengals this game. The Bengals should win this game, but I think the Jaguars will win. So, but we'll see how it goes week 2. Giants, Cowboys, that's next game. Cowboys impressed me. They did. They did impress me in week 1. Now, did they show good signs? Because, especially on offense, because Jalen Carter was not there? We'll see. The Giants, they're not a good team either way. With Russell Wilson, they did not look good. So, putting up 6 points against the Commanders. I know they're the Commanders, but 6 points. That is just... that's not good. The Cowboys. They're still going to be a competitive team, with or without Micah. Was Kenny Clark the answer for the Cowboys? Maybe he was. We don't know. But they're going to be a competitive team from what we're seeing. And I think they will easily get a victory against the Giants. And I got the Cowboys winning, obviously. Yeah, they should easily win this game. The Giants did not look good at all. And we'll see. Now, this is, I think, the biggest blowout I predicted in the video. Bears-Lions. Why the Lions go 0-2? It's not that they're a bad team. I think they'll still be a good team. I think they'll even make the playoffs. However, Ben Johnson is the key for me. Ben Johnson knows this Lions team. You can make the argument, well, he knew the Vikings and they still lost. They still led the majority of the game. The Vikings came back towards the end of the game. Yeah. The Bears, but Ben Johnson knows how Dan Campbell is. He knows how he structured this team. He's worked with Dan Campbell for, I think, like 3 or 4 years. So he knows this team. So he should be able to beat this team. And they should be able to effectively end the Lions this week. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Lions are going to still be a good team. But they've got a very interesting schedule coming up, so we'll see about that. But the Bears, Caleb Williams did not look good in that second half. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think the Bears are going to expose the Lions because they have their old offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, as the head coach for the Bears. I think it's going to work, and I think the Bears are going to easily win. Next game, you got the Patriots against the Dolphins. This one. Dolphins. I am sorry, your season is over. The Dolphins season is over. It's over. It's done. When you allow 30 points for the Colts who I still am not fully convinced is a good team, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not fully convinced yet. I put them as my top 10 just of how dominant they were. I'm not fully convinced the Colts are there yet. But the Patriots barely lost. Well, not barely. I mean, they lost by 7, but that second half did not look good for New England. But that first half did, and the Patriots are going to get better. They will. And it was week 1, and I think the Patriots, for what we saw from the Dolphins last week and from what we saw from New England, I think the Patriots are the better team, and I think the Patriots will crush the Dolphins in week 1. This is not going to be, in my opinion, much of a game. I think the Patriots are going to dominate the Dolphins. The Dolphins are done. Their season's over. Next game, 49ers Saints. Brock Purdy's getting injured. George Kittle's getting injured. They let go of Jake Moody, which was the right decision. He's not a good kicker. This 49ers team has an easy game. George Kittle has a hamstring injury, so Brock Purdy, as far as I know, still played through his injury. So as long as they have Brock Purdy throwing the ball, they will beat the Saints. However, if they were playing a better team, this would not be this game would be over. The Saints may the 49ers would lose if the 49ers were playing a better team, like even the Lions or even the Cowboys. The 49ers would lose. They would. The Saints looked okay against the Cardinals. So maybe the Saints upset the 49ers. I can see that. But I think the 49ers will go 2-0. Easy game for San Francisco. They barely lost to they barely won the Seahawks. I can't believe they lost. They actually beat Seattle. Seattle looked dominant, especially the defense. It looked dominant. But we'll get into them later. The 49ers, they're gonna collapse, but they're not. But they'll still be able to beat the really bad teams like the Saints. So I have the 49ers winning. Maybe the Saints can impress me. Maybe they get a win, and I'll be happy if they win. But the 49ers, I think, will go 2-0. Bills-Jets. Jets played well. Bills came back, beat the Ravens, down 15 on Sunday Night Football. What a show that was, 1-1. The Jets played well that entire game. They kind of blew it towards the end and allowed the Steelers to win, but I still think the Steelers are a good team. The Jets, they're gonna be a competitor this year. Not for a playoff spot, I don't think, but they will maybe next year a playoff spot, but they're still going to compete with even teams like the Bills. I think this game is going to be, I don't remember exactly the exact score I predicted for this game, but I think this game is going to be a semi-close game, like a one-score, between a 7 to 10 point game. I think the Bills will easily win, but I think the Jets are going to hang with them, at least for a little bit. I think the Jets are going to be an okay team this year. The Bills, they got to fix up their defense. Their defense, that did not look good, and maybe it's just because the Ravens' offense is insane, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the Bills, they do need to clean up the defense, because that did not look good, especially because you invested in the defense all offseason pretty much during the draft. You kept drafting defensive players. They have not really done anything for you in week 1. Now, it was the Ravens, so it might just have been because the Ravens' offense was incredible, but you want this team to compete with teams like the Chiefs or teams like the Ravens. That can't happen again. They got lucky. The next game, Seattle versus Pittsburgh. The Seahawks, they disappointed me. They did. The offense disappointed me. The defense was exactly what I thought they would be. The defense was amazing against the 49ers. They were. 2 interceptions. It looked like this was the Seahawks were gonna win. And then the 49ers came down, scored a touchdown with like a minute and a half left. Seattle drives down the field. It looks like they're pretty much in the red zone. It's like, okay, they're gonna score. I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna actually get this right. And then Nick Bosa shoves the offensive lineman not into Sam Darnold, but kind of shoves him in a way to where when Sam Darnold threw his arm back, he fumbled it because it ran into the offensive lineman, and Nick Bosa got the fumble, ending the game. That is going to happen. That is not going to happen in this game, I don't think. I think Pittsburgh will still win, but Seattle is going to compete with Pittsburgh. They will. They are going to compete. This is going to be a close game, just like the Jets-Steelers was. The Steelers are still going to win. I had it being like 20-27. I think it's going to be a 1-score game. Maybe even less than a 7-point game. It may be like a 6 or 5 or even 4-point game. But we'll see how that goes. I think the Steelers are a legit team this year. The Seahawks, I think, still will be. I think they definitely have a shot at winning the division because the Rams didn't look the best. 49ers are getting injured. And then Cardinals, I don't know how they're going to be. But the Steelers, they just have too much in front. They have too much stars on their team to lose this game. I think the Steelers will win this game, but it'll be a close game. But it wouldn't surprise me if Seattle comes back and wins. If they do, then Seattle, I think, is a legit contender to win the division and maybe win a playoff game. We'll see. Next game, the final morning game, Rams-Titans. Titans nearly upset the Broncos, and Rams nearly let the Texans win without making a touchdown. I don't know. There's a part of me that can see the Titans making a win, getting a big win here. However, I think the Rams will still win. I think the Rams. This could be Matthew Stafford's last season. I think he's going to want this thing to go out the way he wants to, which is at least getting a winning record and making the playoffs. So I think they will take care of these small, like, not very good teams like the Titans, and maybe the Texans are one of those teams too. But the Rams did not impress me at all. With Davante Adams is getting older. Matthew Stafford's getting older. They got Puka Nacua. You let go of Kupp. I mean, Kupp is getting older as well. But they still have Puka Nacua. But I don't know. I don't know. It depends. If the Seahawks actually upset the Steelers and the Rams fall to the Titans, I think the Seahawks will easily win the division. Especially if the 49ers blow it to the Saints. Or barely win the game. I think Seattle is going to win that division, if that's the case. They're the better team in that division, and then, I don't know, like I said, I don't know about the Cardinals. But We'll see. So, yeah. Titans, they nearly upset the Broncos. I thought when Denver muffed that punt, that was going to be it. Titans were going to score, and because the Broncos were only up by 2 at that point, they were in field goal range. So I'm thinking like Titans at least score a field goal and take the lead, and that might be all they need because that game was a very slow game. There was like 8 minutes left. The offenses weren't doing much. So yeah, I don't know. I thought they would do it. I thought they would upset them, but fortunately for my predictions, they didn't. But yeah, Titans may be a competitive team this year. They may be, and if they upset the Rams, I still have the Rams winning, but if they upset the Rams, I don't know. Titans maybe win 6, 7, maybe 8 games this season. Next game, the first afternoon game, Panthers-Cardinals. Carolina disappointed me badly. I thought they were going to be better than this. Chuba Hubbard got a touchdown. He played well. That was it. This is not a good Panthers team. I predicted the Jaguars to beat the Panthers. I did not predict the score I did. I thought it would be like 20-24, a close game, not 10-26. It might have been 3-26 if Chuba Hubbard didn't get that touchdown. Like the Panthers looked that bad. The Cardinals, they were in a good game with the Saints. They won, so. But they were in a pretty tight game. The Saints hung with them, but eventually the Cardinals just figured out that they were actually the better team and won that game. But they should win this game. The Panthers are a bad team. They're back to being a 3-win team this year. I don't think they're going to be a 5-win team. I don't think they're going to be a 7-win, 8, whatever I predicted. I think I predicted them at like 7, 8 wins this season. They're not going to be that bad. They're not going to be that good. Cardinals are going to easily go 2-0 here. This isn't even a contest. Broncos Colts. Denver disappointed me. They did. They've won, but they allowed the Titans to hang with them. Then the Colts really impressed me. I have this being a very, very close game. I think what happened was week 1, it was one game. I think Denver just wasn't quite ready, maybe buying in too much of their own hype. And which their defense is amazing. It was. Their offense, I think they just were buying into way too much of their hype. And the scary word of expectations got to them, and they almost blew that game with the Titans. They didn't, fortunately. The Colts, their expectations were like a 5-win team. And then went like maybe a 5, 6, 7-win team with Anthony Richardson. I predicted 8-win. Then when they got Daniel Jones, their expectations were maybe like 3-win. So the fact they dominated the Dolphins 33-8, that was incredible. I thought maybe Miami might make a comeback. There was no way Miami was making a comeback. The Colts just decimated the Dolphins. The Dolphins' defense was showing signs that they were a bad defense, which we all kind of knew. The offense showed that Tua's done. Tyreek Hill, I don't know. I got a feeling he's leaving after this year. He may even have a trade mid-season. We may have a trade mid-season with him and Jalen Waddle. Their running backs, you have Achane and Mostert. Those guys probably are going to be gone after this year. Tua's probably going to be gone after this year. But the Colts just decimated them offensively and defensively. And the Colts have pieces in place that would make the Colts be a pretty good team. I would say, hey, the Colts, they're a good team if they have the right quarterback. Anthony Richardson, which is what I thought. I thought maybe he may do well, but the Colts, I don't like the Colts. They had Daniel Jones. He won the battle with Anthony Richardson, which is crazy. And he played like this week 1, and it was great. So I don't know. I haven't bought quite too much into the Colts hype yet. It depends. But this will be a close game. And if the Colts dominate Denver, the Colts are a legit team. And they're probably going up in the power rankings. They're not going to be number 10 if they beat Denver. They're probably going to be like at least 8 or 7. If they beat Denver, especially if they beat Denver in the way they beat Miami, or even if they win in a close game. I think the Broncos at that point, Bo Nix is having, in my opinion, a sophomore slump, and Denver, if they make the playoffs, are going to barely make the playoffs, and maybe LA wins the division, maybe even the Raiders, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I have the Broncos winning in a close one. I don't know how well the Colts are going to be. I just don't. Eagles, Chiefs, the Super Bowl rematch. The Chiefs, week 1 felt nice when the Chargers well, not decimated them, but the Chargers beat them. That was fun, even though I had the Chiefs to win that game. That was fun to see the Chiefs lose week 1. The Eagles, Jalen Carter gets ejected. We still win against the Cowboys. Part of the problem, CeeDee Lamb, but the Eagles. Wow, that was not a fun win, but we won. The Chiefs, I don't know. Was week 1 a fluke or not? We're going to find out. I think it was. Alright, I think the Chiefs are still a pretty good team. However, their offense, their receiver core may need some work. But, yeah, but still, the defense, the secondary also didn't look very good with the Chiefs either. But, yeah. I don't know. I mean, if Travis Kelce's running into your own players, that might be a sign he's just done. But maybe he is. If he is, the Chiefs are easily losing this game. Eagles are going to dominate. They're going to explode the Chiefs if that's the case. However, I don't think that's the case. I think the Chiefs are going to win in a very slow, very competitive game. I think they will. I think they're going to grind this game down, and they're going to play. They're not going to just be thinking about Saquon Barkley, and I don't know. The Chiefs, I think, will win. in a very tight, slow game, unfortunately. If I'm wrong and the Eagles dominate, then fly Eagles fly all the way to Super Bowl 60. But no, we still got to play the Packers and other teams. But before I say that, but I think personally at that point, especially if the Chiefs look awful, they're done. They're not winning the division this year. And if Denver looks awful, then the Raiders and Chargers, they're on the doorstep of winning the division. But Sunday Night Football, Falcons, Vikings, and I've predicted a little bit of an upset. I think the Falcons, they impressed me against the Buccaneers. They did. The Vikings impressed me too, coming back the way they did. J.J. McCarthy impressed me. However, that was his first game, really, in the NFL, because he never played last year, except for in the preseason until he got hurt. But the Falcons, I think they're desperate and they want to win. I think they do. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to expose certain areas with the Vikings. And I think the Falcons will probably end up winning and maybe even probably a shootout, honestly. I have the score being an 8-point game. That might be a little bit high. I think it will probably be a lot closer of a game if the Falcons win. If the Vikings win, it may be an 8-point game or higher. It may even be a blowout because the Falcons are just not a good team. But I think they are. Falcons are really the only team competing with the Buccaneers anymore. I thought Tampa Bay may, but not the way they played. So we'll see. They almost won. If Younghoe Koo didn't miss that field goal, that game would have gone to overtime. So we'll see. But I think the Falcons will win. They will upset the Vikings. And if I'm right, I'm going to be going crazy like I was when the Vikings came back against the Bears and the Bills came back against the Ravens. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I think the Falcons will win in an upset game. Buccaneers, Texans. Houston, Houston, Houston. What to say about you? The defense, great. The offense, no. Is CJ Stroud becoming a bust? Yet to be determined. I knew, especially when he had a sophomore slump last year, that okay, this is a defining year for CJ Stroud. If he plays well like he did in his rookie year, he is going to be a good quarterback. If he does not play well this year and next year, so really these next 2 years are a defining year for CJ Stroud, then he's a bust. And I think by year 4, if he is playing like he did on Sunday, he's a bust. He is. And the Texans need to think about another quarterback and try to preserve all of their good defensive talent they have, because offense, they need some work. And I think next season, if the Texans have an underwhelming year and they go like 9 wins or 8 wins and have a losing season and don't win the division and move on to the next round, then I think that the Texans are going to start working on the offense, especially an offensive line, because that offensive line did not look good at all. So maybe did Stroud's struggles come from having everyone come after him every single play pretty much? Maybe. But if he plays like the way he did on Sunday for the next 2 years, he's a bust. The Buccaneers, they won in a very close game with the Falcons, like I predicted it would be. They won ultimately, and The Buccaneers, well, will win the division for the 5th straight year. So that's what I think is probably going to happen. If the Falcons win against the Vikings, like I'm predicting they will, they're going to have a competitor. If the Falcons just look awful and the Vikings just dominate, and then the Falcons play a bad team like the Saints and barely win, yeah, Tampa Bay's cruising to the division title. Final game. So there's 2 Monday night games. The first Monday night game being Buccaneers-Texans at 5, and then Mountain Standard Time, 7 Eastern Time. So you have 2 Monday night games, not pretty much simultaneous to each other, but one in the early evening and one in the late evening. Now the Chargers are a team that, as I'm looking back on my power rankings, I should have put in the top 10. I'm sorry I did not. So this is essentially my formal apology to the Chargers. They impressed me. They should have probably been at like number 4 above the Ravens. So basically everyone that was below 4, everyone that was at 4 or below goes down. So that would have been the Vikings at 10, the Broncos at 9, the Buccaneers at 8, the Steelers at 7, the Commanders at 6, and the Ravens at 5. The Chargers should have been at 4. They played great against the Chiefs, and maybe it's because the Chiefs are going to be that bad, but I don't know. We'll see. The Raiders, they played a good game against the Patriots too. They impressed me as well. Both teams I predicted to lose week 1. Both teams proved me wrong. And if the Broncos and Chiefs don't look the best, these 2 teams are probably going to be 1 and 2 in the division, honestly. I think they will. The Raiders, they played well. Is Ashton Jeanty going to be a bust? That's yet to be determined. Like I've been saying I think he will be. However, I don't know. The way he played in preseason, he probably won't be. he won't. The way he played. But that was also preseason. The Chargers, they're a good team. They should have been at number 4. I'm sorry. The Raiders, they're also a team that could be in the top 10 if they play the way they did. So, we'll see how this game goes. I have the Chargers winning in a very close game. But if the Raiders win, then the Raiders are clearly the favorites to win the division. Especially if the Broncos and Chiefs both go down. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I have 2 other channels. So this is Sportsman. Legos Models and Southwest Gamer. I do Legos on Legos on Legos Models. And then I do like Retro Bowl, Madden, Hoopland, games like that on Southwest Gamer. So check so after this, so if you're interested in any of that, check those videos. Check the channels, will be in the description. And yeah, but we'll see how those games go. We'll see how I'm 12-4 in predictions week 1, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes after week 2, but see you in the next video.